So today in this video, this is going to be a remake video or a redo of the top 5 best retro game consoles that I own. I'm going to be restating facts better and doing a better job of it. And the only reason I restarted this is because of one comment. And I will be showing what it says in the comment below at the very end of the video, and I will be showing the picture of it, but I will not be showing who made it, just to make sure that no one gets mad. So we're gonna go off to number 5, and let's get started.
Number 5.
The Nintendo Wii. The Nintendo Wii was one of the best consoles ever made from the time it released in 2009. It is 10 years old, so it counts for this list. The controller is amazing. It is a infrared censored controller that has a D-pad, an A button, 1 and 2 buttons, start, select, home, all the options you need. You have to point it at the TV, just point it like this and just press A to choose what you want. It's amazing. It's awesome. But, you know, if you look at the games again, Brawl was okay, but Melee was better. New Super Mario Bros. Wii. That's a great game. It actually has, you can do 4 players, and it was right after New Super Mario Bros. On the DS. It's fun. And then that turned into a big series of just bad stuff. More and more of those New Super Mario Bros. Games. There's too many of them. Anyways, there's that, and then the fact that a lot of times the motion controls do not work. It's not good. I mean, a lot of times they can be good, but no, I mean, they can ruin great franchises for me. In fact, I love Super Mario Galaxy. I've been playing it some every now and then, but the problem is the controls don't always work. It's not easy to use all the time, and sometimes it's just not fun to use. But otherwise, there's some great games on it. Like Brawl is okay. It's got great stuff on there, but Melee, I've just always had more fun with it. Brawl brought a lot of new things to the table, but it just never brought enough. It didn't make it better than Melee. So, and then the nunchuck use, sometimes that can be helpful, and other times it's just a gimmick within the motion controller. It's just a gimmick console, and it was a great time to use it. It was very fun, but I mean, Wii Sports. I don't even have that many games, but Wii Sports, New Super Mario Bros. Wii, Super Mario Galaxy, Mario Kart Wii. That was a good one. That was a good one on there. Let's see what else. There's a few other good ones that I'm not really thinking of them right now. Oh yeah, Metroid Prime. That was a good one. Zelda game. There's a few Zelda games where, like I said, Zelda is where it ruined it completely. If you watch the original E3 presentation of Zelda, they even showed that it did not work. So that is why it's on number 5 of my list. Also, the one last thing I have to say about it is that the Wii is amazing, but it takes forever to connect the controllers to your console. It took me at least 20 to 30 minutes just to connect all 4 of my controllers to the console itself. It shouldn't take that long just to connect a controller. It was just so slow. You do one, and then you gotta do the other one, but that takes forever to just do 2. And then once you finally get to 3, it takes forever to get them all back connected, and then you gotta do 4, and then you gotta get them reconnected all the time. It just takes forever. It's not fun to use, trying to connect it. Otherwise, it's a great console for the games it had. It had a big impact, movies, TV sometimes. It just was awesome. So that's why it's on number 5, and now we're going back to number 4.
Number 4.
Okay, so number 4 on this list is the Nintendo 64. The Nintendo 64 was amazing. It had some great games. The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, Super Mario 64. Let's see, there's Conker's Bad Fur Day, don't play if you're not mature enough for that one. That's a funny game, but not for younger audiences. But let's see. I've never played it, by the way. There's some other great ones on there. Banjo and Kazooie or Banjo Tooie. There's many great games on there. Mario Kart, Super Smash Bros. It started some great series, and it actually made Mario Kart and Smash Bros. A mainstream game. That's what started it all on a lot of consoles these days. So I have to say that's a pretty awesome console. So a lot of people give it gripes all the time over the controller, and I can completely understand. I made a video recently about how great it is, but it just is going on number 4 because not due to the graphics and not due to the sound or controller. It's just the fact that this was the Nintendo's console that had the least amount of games that I've seen for a home console. It had nearly 300. It didn't even have 300 games. It had nearly that many, but it didn't. So it just ends up being that way. I couldn't put it higher because it only has that many games, and it only has a handful of good ones. I mean, look, 70 something of them are sports games. Is that really necessary? Sports games. It's too many of those. There's a bunch of bad games, like Superman 64 was horrible. We all know that. Mega Man 64, not very good. Jeez, it was bad. There's just so many bad ones on there, too. I mean, there's great ones on there. There's amazing games, but it's just too many bad ones to go with the good ones. There's just not enough quality for it to be higher. If there were better games, if the graphics were a little bit better, I would have put it higher, but it wasn't good enough for me to put it any higher than that. So that is why that's on my number 4 for this list.
Number 3.
Number 3 on this list is going to be a surprise. It's the NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System. It had amazing games. It had such classic games. It was the one that started it all in America, for console-wise. It brought back the gaming industry. It did so much for us. It killed off the Atari. It killed off the bad games, the bad thoughts of them. It did everything for us. It's only on number 3, though, because it's just not, it's not always the best working one. Because I've had to replace my 72-point pin connector at least 2 times now, and that's a little more than it should be for a console that has lasted me a long time. Now, I do have to say, it's very, very doable that that happens, but that's something that's just gonna happen over time. But the fact that you have to put in the cartridge and bend the pins on purpose to play the game, I mean, it was the first one, but still, I wish it wouldn't damage itself by playing them. That's kind of bad, but otherwise, it's a great console other than that, but it has some great classics like Super Mario Bros. 1, 2, 3, Mega Man, Castlevania, Metroid, Double Dragon. There's just so many classic games. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! That's a good one. There's just so many good ones, and they had some great accessories on there too. The Zapper, for example, that was great. It used the CRT technology to its full capability, to where you pull the trigger on it, and then it will go onto the screen with the screen going completely black for a second. Sorry, it goes completely black for a second. It has a small dot. It detects it from the light from the gun onto the screen. It goes so fast that you would never know that would have happened back in the day. You couldn't guess that was happening. It was so high tech for the time that just was amazing. Everyone loved playing Duck Hunt. There's a few other good games on there that are light gun games, but that was one of the best ones out there. There's so many classic games on here that are just amazing. Also, the other gripe I have with it is a lot of people, not myself, but A lot of people do not like the fact that the controller is a rectangular shape because it hurts their hands when holding it. I can see that. With your hands getting bigger, it might pinch against your fingers when holding them in your palms. That is true. That could happen, but otherwise, besides having to take the cartridge out, and sometimes it'll be hard to do. So, like sometimes they can come out really hard. They're really hard to get out sometimes, but otherwise, the games are great. The controller is great, and a lot of the accessories are great. Not all of them. Looking at you, last comment I saw. I'll show you the end of it. That is why that's on my number 3. So we're gonna go on to my number 2.
Number 2.
My number 2 in my list here is the Nintendo GameCube. The Nintendo GameCube was very, very famous for its classic games. It is very well known for its awesome controller too. It is so comfortable to hold, even if it does have sweat. That's going to happen with no matter what you use. But the GameCube just is so amazing with just so many great games. Sure, they had their many problems. This is why it's only on number 2. The reasonings why it's on number 2 is because the tiny disc is a problem. I mean, that's not going to hold as much data. So it's only a little bit worse quality than the Wii. And the Wii is only a little bit more powerful than the GameCube. So it's not that much of a difference, to be honest. But the GameCube has amazing games for what it can do. But also, it was one of the, it didn't sell as well as it should have. Nintendo expected people to go along with its console design not being as cool as the Xbox and PlayStation 2. People just didn't buy it. I mean, would you want to buy something if a company just expected you to, you know? That just wasn't going to work. Now, to explain another thing, the tiny disc that they have, those were meant to just prevent copyright protection, so they based the entire console based off copyright protection. Now that's already strange enough because guess what? It didn't work. It didn't work at all because people easily copyrighted games no matter what happened. So they didn't do anything to help it. They didn't help their case at all with that. So yeah, no, that's not going to work. But the good side, besides the fact that it has a great controller, a nice design, good graphics for the time, it had some amazing games. It had Metroid Prime, Super Mario Sunshine, Mario Kart Double Dash, Super Smash Bros. Melee, best Smash Bros. Ever, The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker, sorry, I couldn't think of the name for a second. Skyward Sword on the GameCube is better than on the Wii, which, like I said earlier, on number 5, has really bad motion controls where it doesn't always work. So, it has much better controls for that. There's not nearly as many accessories for it. The bongos, I used to have those, but they're weird. I mean, they're fun, they're fine, but they're kind of odd. I just didn't play it, so... Otherwise, the GameCube is so enjoyable. I mean, I cannot put down a few of the games that I have. I only have a few games. I can't put them down. They're so amazing. They're just so awesome. I can't believe how fun this is. It's all in number 2 though, just because of the problems with the technical reasons. But otherwise, it's amazing, and I definitely could recommend all these consoles on this list. And that is why it's on my number 2 list. So, we're going on to number 1.
Number 1.
Okay, so my number 1 is the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, 1991. Man, what a classic console. I don't have too many games. I only have like 5 games, but still, it's amazing. It's just so awesome. I could not believe how amazing it is. Sure, there's lots of sports games, lots of bad games, but there's so many great ones to put it out with. There's so many classics. I'll explain that in a second, but besides the fact that it has an odd design for America, I don't even care. I love the design for America. I mean, the nice looking design of the so-called blocky look. I don't mind that it's blocky. I love that look. I love how it has the purple switches. It has those. And if you want to play Super Famicom games that were only in Japan, all you have to do is get some pliers and fix it out on the sides, and then you could put Super Famicom games only in Japan and play those. I mean, that's so amazing. You could never do that in America, because the Japan games are so tiny. They're like this big. It's just so amazing. There's so many classic games. I cannot believe this. I have to say a whole list of great games, but before I do, the controller, it's not sharp anymore. It has 2 shoulder buttons on the top. That was amazing for the time. It has a good D-pad and 4 buttons, plus the start and select button. I could not believe how good this feels. This is such an amazing, innovative controller that I could not go any better with. This is my favorite console. I only have 5, but I play it more than I do on the GameCube. And that's why it's on number 1, but I gotta start talking games now. First off, the launch title was Super Mario World. That alone is amazing. That's just an amazing classic that you could replay over and over and never be bored. You will not want to stop playing. You'll play it. Sure, you'll want to stop every now and then, but you'll love it. There's just and then there's Zelda: A Link to the Past. There's Super Metroid, Mega Man X1, X2, and X3. So X, and then there's X2 and X3. And then there's classics like Super Punch-Out, Contra 3: The Alien Wars, Castlevania 4, and then there's, let's see, Doom. That was actually amazing that they got the technology to make 3D games on it. Speaking of 3D games, Star Fox. That was another good one. I can't remember the names of the other ones, but there's some amazing ones. There's even a European only game that looks like a early prototype for a N64 game on the startup. It's amazing. I have to show you a video sometime of that. I don't have any footage of it yet because I can't remember what it's called, but when I get the chance, I'll post it. It's amazing. They had so many technical stuff that they could not do on the NES. They just blew my mind. They did so many classic things so many classic games and so many things that I would never expect. They even had a 4-player adapter. It sure didn't do it on many games, but it's still cool. Also think about this. They had the Super Scope. Not only is it just the regular zapper, but it's a big bazooka. A bazooka. That's what it is. That's basically what it is. It also inspired Mario to have a gun. Bazooka gun. Super Scope. Basically what that is. There's also accessories like the SNES mouse and a few others, but there's just so many games like Chrono Trigger, Secret of Mana. There's too many. There's just too many to list. There's Earthbound. There's so many out there. I just, that is why it's on my number 1. I cannot believe it. So, yeah. Forgot to say, Super Mario Kart. So, yes, thank you for watching this video. Before I end this video, though, I want to show y'all the picture that I have of the comment that made me restart this. And I hope he and everyone else here enjoyed it. So, thank you for watching. I'll go ahead and put that up, and see you next time. Okay, thank you guys for commenting in my videos, and this is the comment that encouraged me to make a redo of this, so thank you for doing that. Thanks for watching. Bye.